Today I'm taking my turbo off my Evo and going back to stock. This is Simply Stock Garage, so you know I take everything back to stock when I sell it. And up on the chopping block is my 2011 Evo X. In case you're wondering why this car is leaving, it's because I got a 2013 Evo X that I'm keeping. I don't need two Evos at the same time, so I'm gonna get rid of this one, keep that one, because I have basically no money for what Evos go for invested into that one. And I can just drive it and put miles on it and not care. I want to put as many miles on it as I can. So this one has a pretty good setup on it. It's got a Garrett turbo. It's a 3576R. It's got a full exhaust, intake obviously, blow-off valve, intercooler pipings. It's got a little bit of everything. Intercooler that I'm going to put on my other car as well. Headlights, I'm probably going to put those on my other car. And the fuel system is all upgraded. It's got, I forget what size injectors, I think maybe 1200s or something like that. And then a fuel pressure regulator right here and lines. So it has a good bit of mods, and mods equals money. So I'm gonna put it back to stock. That way I'll have as little as I can invested into this car, because a stock turbo, I bought it for 80 bucks. And just like everything like that, stock is just a lot cheaper. And tuner cars are usually easier to sell when they're all back to stock anyways, so it'll be easier to sell. So let's dive into it and get this turbo off. Right now I'm just trying to get as much stuff disconnected from the turbo as I can from up top, like the intake. You can get the downpipe, the top bolts taken out, and you can do the manifold now. So I'm just trying to do as much stuff as I can now, so when I go under I just have to drop the downpipe and the oil will return, I think, and then just pull the turbo. Now the downpipe is one of the most annoyingest parts of the job. You can see the bolts come off of it right there. It's not too bad. People make it seem to be way worse than it actually is. What I do is I put something right there to lay on, and that way I'm just laying in the bay, and use just a wrench. I have this one that kind of has a kinked end, closed end, but it's 12 socket or 12 point, and I got a ratcheting wrench set, and it's a 14, so I just use these two and just take my time. And right now I just want to loosen up or even take off all the bolts, and then I'll do the manifold. I loosen the downpipe bolts before I do the manifold. That way the turbo's all connected and it's not gonna flex at all, whereas if the manifold was disconnected, it might flex around while you're trying to loosen up the downpipe bolts. Now, if your turbo's never been taken off before, it probably has the bracketry that is not on most Evos that have had the turbo taken off. It has one bracket that goes from under, and the bolt is a pain to get out. That's why most people don't put that bracket back in. And then there's one from up top that's not too bad. So if you take the manifold off, those will be holding it. But since mine's been off before and they didn't put those back in, it will just be suspended by the lines. About 5 minutes later, and the downpipe is disconnected. You can see in there. The hardest one is there's a nut on this end, on the inside of the turbo, that you have to use an open end wrench on. That is the hardest one, in my opinion. Now I try to soak the bolts going from turbo to manifold and PB blaster. And because this is a aftermarket manifold, you have to use an open end wrench on these. So that's kind of sketchy. So I want them soaked good so they don't fight me when they come out. This one, you can just use an Allen head. All right, this is me from the future while editing. If you have a stock manifold, cat in my way. If you have a stock manifold, you can just use a socket and a ratchet, and it has 2 nuts and 2 bolts. and it's just like taking out any other nut and bolt. They probably will be seized a little bit, so penetrating fluids is going to help, and you want to work it. If you feel it getting tight while loosening, spray some penetrating fluid in it, and then go back and tighten it a little bit, and just keep doing that little by little and try to work it all the way out. It's much easier to just take your time and work it out rather than dealing with a broken bolt or a snapped one, especially if you want to reuse that turbo, because drilling out those bolts out of that housing, it takes forever and it is not fun. As you can see, the manifold is out of the way and the turbo's just sitting here. I haven't driven this car in so long. Ooh, bees made a house right here or something. But now we need to get the water lines off, which one's right here. It just goes to this coolant housing. So just take it off right there. It's simple. The other one goes to the water pipe right there. So that's simple enough. I'm gonna put a plug. I'm gonna slip the lines off real quick and put a plug so I don't lose too much coolant. And then for the turbo feed and return, right there, let me zoom in on it. That is the return, so I can get it from up above. And then I can't really show you the feed line, but you just gotta follow that line, and it's kind of near the return. You undo the feed line bolt. So I can do them from up above, so I don't even have to go under the car. This one. Oh God, I'm terrible. It's already done. Plug it anyways. I couldn't really show you guys, but I loosened the drain and feed lines down there. So those are loosened, and I loosened this bottom coolant one. These go bad with age. This one's all hard, so you'll probably have to replace that one. Last thing that I gotta do is take this turbo inlet off. I forgot to take that off, and I might have to take this thing off, which I gotta bang it straight anyways, so yeah, probably take that off too, and then I can pull out the turbo. Guys, so the turbo is out. I'll check right now and put on the screen how long it took me with filming, but that'll give you guys a rough estimate on how long it should take to get out. If you break bolts, obviously that's gonna slow you down and stuff like that. So yeah, just try to use penetrating oil on all these bolts that connect to the turbo. And here's where the bracket connects to from down below, to give you a visual, and the one from up above connects right here. And I was able to leave the turbo inlet on and squeeze it out with it on, but the J pipe I had to take off. So here's the turbo. Obviously it needs a cleaning, but it's in pretty good condition. I hope you enjoyed the turbo removal. It's really not too much work. Just take it slow your first time and learn where all the bolts are and everything. And yeah, after you've done a few, like I can get them done in an hour now, removing it at least. So it's not that bad. Installing them's not too bad either. You just take it slow, do it in order. Remove the manifold first, then turbo. Then when you're putting it back in, put the turbo in first, just like set it down there, then put the manifold, bolt the manifold on, bring the turbo up to the manifold, and bolt everything around it. So it's not too bad. Hope you were able to learn something from the video. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the next video.
Money kills, that's the truth, it's called the root of evil. I want that Rolls Royce that the homie Lennon drove. So if they don't got some dollars for me, I'ma send them home.